Hi, welcome. In today's video, we are going to look into one of the most important application of Ampere circular law, that is how to find magnetic field intensity due to a coaxial cable. I hope you have a clear picture in your mind about a coaxial cable. If you don't know the physical structure of coaxial cable, right away pause this video, search in Google and get images or videos of coaxial cable, and make sure that when I say coaxial cable, the basic physical structure of that particular cable is in your mind. Anyway, I will be using a small diagrammatic representation of coaxial cable in my derivation, but it is drawn by me, okay, on the screen live, so it may not give you a clear picture. So it's better to have a better picture. Okay, now come to the derivation part. I am going to consider a coaxial cable with infinite length, unknown length basically, and small a will be the radius of the inner conductor, and small b will be inner radius of outer conductor, and small c is the outer radius of the outer conductor. So this particularly says that a coaxial cable will have two conductors. One is a solid inner conductor, then you will have dielectric medium, okay, filled in between, then you will have an outer conductor whose width has to be noted down. Okay, because the inner conductor is solid conductor whose radius, if I know, I will know what is its volume. But for the outer conductor, I should be knowing what is the inner radius and outer radius also, to mathematically evaluate basically. So whatever I have told, let me diagrammatically represent, try to represent. So this is my inner conductor, okay, whose radius is small a. I represent it as small a. Then this is the inner conductor of the coaxial cable. Then I will have the outer conductor, okay, whose inner radius is small b. Okay, so basically you will have like this. The outer conductor is formed by this green circle and blue circle. I know that it's not appearing like a circle, but you please draw it very spiral. Okay, so this outer conductor radius is c. So that's the reason I told you to go through coaxial cable live images or videos. Okay, so this is C. Now one more thing which you should note here is the current flowing through the inner conductor and current flowing through the outer conductor will be in opposite directions. So let me assume that current flowing through inner conductor is capital I and current flowing through the outer conductor is minus I. So this conductor, as I told, this coaxial cable, as I told you, is infinite length. So let me represent it something like this. Okay, infinite, it's extending, and I have kept this coaxial cable along z axis. Imagine that I have kept it along z axis also. Okay, just imagination. And the current flowing through the inner conductor and outer conductor are exactly in opposite directions. So let me assume that the current in outer conductor is in this direction, which I considered as minus direction, and current flowing through the inner conductor is along z direction, so that's why I consider it as positive current. Okay, opposite to z direction I consider as negative. So this is along z axis, this is the positive z axis. Okay, you can draw if you want. Okay, this is the positive z axis. So the current flowing like this will be my positive I, and the current flowing in the other direction, that is outer conductor, is minus I, inner conductor is plus I. Keep this in your mind. So I will be applying Ampere circular law. So Ampere circular law says that closed integral H dot dl equal to I. So this is the equation which I will be using to derive what is magnetic field intensity due to coaxial cable. Nice. Okay, now I'll always keep the evaluation of this H dot dl in my mind. As you know, the magnetic field intensity to find magnetic field intensity applying Ampere's circular law, I should have a closed symmetrical path. So since this is a coaxial cable, circular in nature, I will consider a circular path itself. Around this coaxial cable, I will consider a circular path, and magnetic field intensity will be at every point on the circular path will be tangential. So I will have only H phi, A phi component, and dl vector will be rho d phi A phi cap, considering cylindrical coordinate system. So keeping all that in mind, I know that my H dot dl will evaluate to H phi, right, rho d phi. So basically substitute what is H, what is dl, and find the dot product. You will end up with H phi rho d phi. So always keep this in your mind. Always my H dot dl will evaluate to this expression H phi dy. Okay, now one important question should arise in your mind. That is, if I need to find the magnetic field intensity due to a coaxial cable, I need to enclose the coaxial cable by a closed path, and I have chosen already a circular path. That's why I am getting this expression, right, H phi rho d phi. Nice. But listen carefully. I can, as per Ampere's circular law, I have to enclose current carrying conductor to find H vector. That's it. So I have an inner conductor which is carrying current, as well as I have an outer conductor which carries current. So my question now is, where is my closed path? Is my closed path always here? Outside means closed path enclosing both the inner and outer conductors at a time, or can the circular path or enclosing path, can it be here, just enclosing my inner conductor, or can it be somewhere inside the conductor, or can it be somewhere inside this outer conductor? This is a good question, right? So my expression for H vector will vary, no? If I consider it outside, the currents will cancel each other and I may get H vector 0. Chances are there. We will look into that. And if I consider inside, if I consider the enclosed path inside, I will get what is magnetic field intensity here in the coaxial cable. But I will fail to calculate what is magnetic field intensity somewhere at this point outside the coaxial cable. So what I am trying to convey is, you have to consider all the cases. What is the expression for magnetic field intensity if the closed path is around the coaxial cable itself, if the closed path is between the inner and outer conductor, if the closed path is inside the inner conductor or inside this shell of the outer conductor. So we will check whether in all the cases we are going to get same H vector, but using common sense we know that it is not going to be same, because the current enclosed are going to be different, right? So H vector will vary, because H vector directly depends upon the current. That is Ampere's circular law says, right? So it is nice to derive H vector in this case by considering different cases. So I have to take first case, okay, let me note it as case 1 as the magnetic field at some point which is greater than A and less than B. So where it comes, greater than A and less than B means somewhere here, my point P is somewhere. So I am going to consider an imaginary closed circular path with radius rho somewhere here. So that is my case 1. So case 1 says that my rho, okay, is between A and B. What is rho? Rho is the radius of the closed path. So radius of the closed path is going to be somewhere between A and B. So in that case I have to just consider what is the current flowing through the inner conductor, because I can evaluate Ampere's circular law if and only if the current is enclosed by the closed path. So now my closed path is here. I hope this is very clear. The closed path is around this inner conductor. So it is enclosing only this positive current I. So I have to just calculate what is magnetic field intensity due to this inner conductor. So I am not going to derive it again because we already know. In the previous video we have already seen what is magnetic field intensity due to this inner conductor. Is it not? Don't agree? See, what is this inner conductor going to be? This coaxial cable is infinite. So this inner conductor also is going to be infinite and it is kept along z axis. So this is the case of a current carrying conductor kept along z axis whose length is infinite. So we already know what is expression for magnetic field intensity, right? Magnetic field intensity due to an infinite current carrying conductor. So I will directly write the expression for H vector, that is nothing but I divided by 2 pi rho A phi cap, and unit is ampere per meter. Okay, so this is in case 1. In case 1 I get expression something like this, which you already. But for exam point of view, you have to derive it here also. The steps are similar to the previous video, that is first application of Ambius-Circuital law. You are going to get this expression. Okay, now let us come to the second case, okay, which is very interesting case. Let me make myself some space. Case 2. This is really interesting. Why I am saying that this is really interesting is I am going to consider my rho less than A, that is my closed path is going to be inside my inner conductor. So I am trying to evaluate what is magnetic field intensity, or is there any magnetic field intensity existing inside my inner conductor of the coaxial cable. Is it not interesting? Oh, yeah, of course it is interesting. So how I am going to calculate it? Now that means in this figure I am going to enclose some portion of the current. So you should remember the 3 points which I told you while stating the Ambius-Circuital law. Ambius-Circuital law is only applicable, okay, in some cases, right? So here I am going to consider a closed path inside. So if you want some idea of it, okay, some pictorial representation of this, I will just zoom the inner conductor. This is my inner conductor, okay, some inner conductor, something like this. Now I am going to consider a closed path inside this, that is the idea, inside this. Okay, so the radius of this is rho, radius of this inner part is rho, and radius of this is A. I hope this is very clear. Yeah, I know this figure is not neat, but my idea is to just make you understand the concept. So I think the concept is very clear. So if the radius is smaller than the radius of the inner conductor, then the current enclosed will also be less than I, no? Because the current is flowing through the entire conductor. We didn't study in deep, okay, current will flow on the surface of the conductor, we know that, but still, okay, considering physically, okay, considering by physical, going with physical science, the current enclosed by this closed path rho will be less than the total current I. The total current flowing is I. If I have this path around, okay, that is this case, it will enclose the entire current I. But now the path is inside, so it is not going to enclose the entire current I, it will only enclose a portion of current I. So now first I need to calculate what is the current enclosed by this closed surface, then I can easily substitute in this equation and try to find out what is H vector. It's not a big deal. Okay, now how to find what is the current enclosed. So I will do a comparative study, that's it, in the sense. The cross sectional area of my inner conductor is pi a square, no, because the radius is A. Okay, radius is A. So if I is the total current flowing through a cross sectional area of pi a square, then what would be the current flowing through cross sectional area pi rho square? So if I can find this, that is my current enclosed by the closed path. Agree? I hope it's very clear. So because I can apply Ampere circuital law only to the value of current which is enclosed by the closed path. Otherwise I cannot apply. So here my first duty is to find how much current is enclosed by the closed path. So how much current is enclosed? To find that I am giving you this idea. The total current is flowing through a cross sectional area pi a square, but now my cross sectional area reduced to pi rho square. You just find what is the current, expression for current flowing through pi. So what I can do cross multiplication, because this is my reference. So if I do cross multiplication and if I name this as something like I enclosed, okay, I write IE or IENC, whatever. So if I cross multiply, what will be my IENC? So my I enclosed will be pi will get cancelled. So I get it as rho square by a square multiplied by the total current. And we also know that, so we'll always keep this, as I told you, we'll always keep this equation in my mind. So the current enclosed I, so I is the current enclosed, remember. Now this I is not the total current I, that I is I enclosed. So I enclosed is H phi rho d phi, H dot dl. So we evaluated it as H phi rho d phi. So I'll be using this directly now, H phi rho d phi. So H phi rho d phi is equal to this current. That is the idea. Okay. So as per Ampere circuital law, the total current enclosed is line integral H dot dl. So in this case it is H phi rho d phi. So I enclosed is H phi rho d phi. So what is I enclosed? It is rho square by a square I is nothing but H phi rho d phi. So continuing to evaluate this mathematically, so I am interested in H phi, okay, as well as I have to integrate this, right? I have to integrate because this is just H phi rho d phi. Sorry, I have to write the integral form here. So this is integral, right? Closed integral of this, because Ampere circuital law says it is closed integral of H dot dl. H dot dl is this, so I have to do closed integral. Okay. So now closed integral of this H phi rho d phi. So this becomes rho square by a square I, which is equal to I have to just, H phi is treated constant, rho is treated constant, so I have to just integrate d phi, and after integrating d phi we are going to get 2 pi. We have done it many times, so I am directly writing. So H phi rho 2 pi is what I get. So from this equation I can write what is H phi easily. So what is H phi from this equation? From this equation H phi is rho square I, right, divided by 2 pi rho a square. Just bring this to rho 2 pi to the other side. So I can cancel one rho. So I end up with I rho divided by 2 pi a square. So this is my H phi. So what is my H vector? H vector is nothing but magnitude of H phi into direction a phi cap. So this becomes I rho. So in my case 2, my H vector becomes I rho by 2 pi a square a phi cap. So this is my H vector in the second case. Second case, when I mean if my enclosed path is within the inner conductor. So what will be the third case? Can you guess what will be the third case? So third case is I can have my enclosed path. I can have my enclosed path within the outer conductor. That is, rho is between B and C. So rho is going to be between B and C. That means my closed path of rho will be here. I am considering the closed path here. So what does it mean? It will have this current enclosed as well as a part of minus I current also, right? Because minus I is flowing through this entire cross sectional area, but I am considering only a part of cross sectional area. So what is the total current enclosed by this closed path? It is that portion of minus I plus the entire current flowing through the inner conductor. I hope that is very clear. Okay, so that is the next case. So what is the, now how will I find how much is the current enclosed within that outer area? Okay, for reference I can just draw it here. So this is, consider that this is my outer conductor, okay, having two radiuses B and C. Okay, pardon me for very bad circle. Okay, so this from here if I measure, this is my B, and from here if I measure, this is my C. Agree? So I have B and C. Now the minus I, the current flowing through here is minus I, opposite to Z direction, right? Minus I is flowing through this entire cross section. So how, first I need to calculate what is this entire cross section. After that I can find what is the cross section enclosed by the path inside this. I hope that is very clear what I am trying to convey. Okay, so the current enclosed by the closed path is only a part of minus I in the outer conductor. So the total current flowing through the cross section, that is this cross section, okay, while the closed path encloses a lesser cross section. So first let me identify how much is this cross section. So mathematically, how will I evaluate this cross section? So I can evaluate this cross section as something like this, right? The outer cross section is pi C square, and inner cross section I can take it as pi B square. But current is flowing through the intersection of these cross sections. So it is flowing through cross section pi of C square minus B square, right? The total cross section is pi C square. The cross section till here is pi B square, but current is flowing through the remaining cross section. So pi C square minus pi B square, pi is constant, so I take it out common, so I take it outside. So pi C square minus B square. So this is the total current minus I. So minus I is flowing through this cross section. But now my new cross section is only this much, pi rho square minus B square. Agree? Because how much current is flowing through this I need to find. Why it is pi rho square minus B square? But because I have an inner circle here now, which is my rho. Okay, now this is my rho. So pi rho square minus pi B square will give me the current flowing through this cross section. So I need to find what is the current flowing through this cross section. I hope I am very clear. I hope it's clear to you. Okay, what I am trying to find? I am trying to find what is that portion of minus I which is flowing through this cross section. So how to find? Again, keep the reference and cross multiply, and let me name this current as something like I dash. Okay, so I dash will be pi of rho square minus B square divided by pi of C square minus B square. Okay, multiplied by minus I, multiplied by minus, don't forget the minus I. So this is my I dash. But you should not forget that why I wrote it as I dash, why I didn't write as I enclosed? Because you should not forget that the closed path also enclosed the inner conductor. That means the current flowing through the inner conductor is also enclosed by this path which I am trying to evaluate, right? So this path, the circular path, encloses this current I dash as well as the I which is flowing through the inner conductor, right? Positive I which is flowing through the inner conductor. So my total I enclosed in this case, my total I enclosed in this case will be the inner conductor current I plus this portion of minus I, that is I dash. So the total current flowing is I enclosed, which is I plus I dash. So that is nothing but I minus, because I dash is minus I. So I minus I multiplied by pi rho square minus b square divided by pi c square minus b square. So this is my total I enclosed. Now I got what is the current enclosed by the closed surface. So I can go back to this equation, that is I enclosed is closed integral h phi rho d phi, and evaluate h phi and then h vector. Agree? Yeah. So how I am going to evaluate my I enclosed? Okay. Now further, if you want, you can simplify this before substituting, right? Before substituting you can simplify this. When I say simplify, you can take I as common, is better, because otherwise it becomes very lengthy equation when you substitute. So I can simplify this further. I can write this as I common and 1 minus pi get cancels, right? Pi get cancels. So I minus rho square minus b square divided by c square minus b square. I am just trying to get a better equation for I enclosed before substituting to find the closed integral. Okay. So now take the LCM of this. So this I multiplied by this is c square minus b square comes here. So c square minus b square minus rho square plus b square it becomes. I just multiplied this. Okay. This is basically, there is a bracket here, right? So when I multiply this minus, this becomes plus, divided by LCM c square minus b square. So this turns out to be a better equation like I, because this b square cancels, becomes evaluates to 0. So this just becomes I multiplied by c square minus rho square divided by c square minus b square. So this is my I enclosed. So my I enclosed is my inner conductor current I multiplied by these values, c square minus rho square, these dimensions basically, c square minus rho square by c square minus v square. Okay. Now going back to h vector, what is my h vector? So that is my I enclosed. I enclosed is closed integral h phi, right, rho 2 pi. This is what I get, h dot dl. So it is h phi rho 2 pi. So evaluating this, I get RHS to be, okay, so this is after integrating. Actually it is h phi rho d phi, sorry for that, h phi rho d phi. Okay, basically it is h phi rho d phi, and after integrating I get it as h phi rho 2 pi, correct? So I enclosed is h phi rho 2 pi. So I will substitute this I enclosed value onto the left hand side LHS. So I get I multiplied by c square minus rho square divided by c square minus b square. Okay, now this inside the bracket is equal to my h phi rho 2 pi. So now my intention is to find the expression for h phi from this. So from this expression I can get h phi as I by 2 pi rho. Just bring that rho 2 pi to the other side. So I by 2 pi rho multiplied by c square minus rho square divided by c square c, okay, c square minus b square. This is my h phi. So what is my h vector? H vector is h phi a phi cap. So in this case I get my h vector as h phi a phi cap. So I divided by 2 pi rho multiplied by c square minus rho square divided by c square minus b square AFI cap ampere per meter. So this is in third case. When you are considering the closed path within the outer conductor, it will enclose some portion of outer conductor current and the entire inner conductor current. So the magnetic field intensity should be calculated using this formula, this mathematical expression. Now there is one more case left. What is that case? So the last case, which is I think fourth case, right? So there is one more case left. What if my closed path radius is outside? Okay, what if my closed path radius is greater than the radius of outer conductor, that is rho is greater than c. That means I am going to calculate what is magnetic field intensity outside the coaxial cable. So my closed path is now enclosing both inner conductor current and outer conductor current. Okay, so in this case what will be I enclosed? I have to calculate what is I enclosed. So I enclosed will be the total inner conductor current, which is capital I, flowing along z axis, positive z axis, and the total current which is flowing through the outer conductor, which is flowing in the direction of negative z axis. So we took it as minus I. So what is this? This is 0. That means the total current enclosed by a closed surface, if the closed surface radius is larger than the total coaxial cable radius, then the current enclosed is evaluated to be 0. Then what does it tells you? So if you apply Ampere circuit law to this, it tells you that closed integral H dot dl is 0. This is the current enclosed, which is 0. Now what does it tells you? It tells you that, or it indicates that magnetic field does not exist outside the coaxial cable. That is very interesting. So you lay down coaxial cable for multiple purposes. You have coaxial cable for communication purposes, right? You have coaxial cable for your cable TVs. Maybe you have coaxial cable for your internet, broadband internet services, right? All in these cases, the magnetic field outside the coaxial cable is 0. So this is a very important findings. Do you know why? Because a magnetic interference is one of the great problems which the engineers face. Basically, magnetic interference will lead to noises, loss of informations, etc. in communication field. Okay, so as a communication student, you should be very happy that the magnetic field intensity outside the coaxial cable is literally 0. So there cannot be any magnetic field interference caused due to coaxial cable outside its environment. But you should also remember that magnetic field intensity inside the coaxial cable is not uniformly distributed. That is also a very important point. Okay, when it helps us telling that magnetic field intensity outside is 0, it also complicates us, or it also points us, or it also tells us that, hi my friend, hello my friend, you have to evaluate magnetic field intensity inside me at every point, because at every point magnetic field intensity cannot be evaluated using the same mathematical expression. It is different. In case 1 it is different, in case 2 it is different, in case 3 it is different. Means at different points inside the coaxial cable it is different. So remember, if my point is somewhere inside the outer conductor, I have to use this expression. For finding the magnetic field intensity. okay, because these dimensions will be anyway known to you, current will be known to you, and this rho you can fix based on the dimension of the coaxial cable, and you can calculate what is H vector. Same way, if you are considering the point, okay, that is this is our third case, right? In second case, we have considered the point inside the inner conductor. So if you are interested in calculating what is magnetic field intensity inside the inner conductor, then you will have to use this equation, right? H is equal to I rho by 2 pi a square a phi cap. Here also same thing, inner conductor radius will be known to you, current will be known to you. You can fix what is rho based on the dimension of A, because rho should be less than A, right? You can fix it and calculate what is magnetic field intensity at any point inside the conductor, and magnetic field intensity at any point between the two conductors in a coaxial cable can be evaluated by using this equation. So I hope magnetic field intensity due to coaxial cable is crystal clear. Thank you for your patient listening. Bye.